The sun rose gently over the village of Rajagriha, casting golden hues upon its bustling streets. A herder approached Buddha's resting place, cradling a young lamb in his arms. His face showed anguish, the burden of moral conflict weighing heavily on his soul. Kneeling before the enlightened one, he sought counsel for the dilemma consuming him. Buddha, this lamb has been chosen for a sacrifice to appease the gods, the herder began. Trembling with uncertainty, I cannot bear to see its life extinguished. Yet, my village insists that the gods demand this offering. What shall I do, O enlightened one? The Buddha gazed at the lamb, its innocent eyes wide with trust and unknowing. The disciples gathered closer, eager to learn. The Buddha's voice broke the silence, calm as the still waters of a serene lake. In the web of life, all beings share the thread of existence. Who has the right to sever another's thread for their own gain? The herder looked into the lamb's eyes, suddenly seeing more than just an animal. He saw a soul struggling for life. Consider this, continued the Buddha. Does your love for this lamb differ from the love you bear your child? Both feel warmth, pain, fear, and joy. If we harm this lamb, do we not also harm the loving nature of our own hearts? The disciples nodded, understanding dawning like the first light of morning. One of them asked, Master, is all harm born of ignorance and self-deception? Buddha smiled, his expression tender but profound. Indeed, ignorance blinds us to the truth of interconnectedness. We see divisions where there are none. Compassion dissolves these imagined borders, allowing unity to flourish. The herder spoke again, his voice quivering with desperation. But, Lord, what of the gods? The elders of my village say the gods will curse us if we do not offer this life. The Buddha regarded him with patience. The gods you speak of are beings bound to the cycles of craving and aversion. True divinity lies not in demanding suffering, but in extending compassion and understanding. Reflect on this. Does a truly loving being require the suffering of others for their own satisfaction? Tears welled in the herder's eyes as the profound truth of these words touched him. The lamb nuzzled against his chest, sensing his shifting energy. Buddha gestured towards the lamb. This creature breathes, feels, and aspires to survive, much like yourself. Who among us has the moral authority to extinguish its spark of life? A disciple raised his hand to speak. Master, if compassion is the cornerstone, how do we teach those who still indulge in cruelty? Buddha closed his eyes momentarily, as though drawing wisdom from the eternal well of truth. Teach by embodying the very compassion you wish to see. The heart of another is more likely to soften when it is met with patience and understanding, rather than force or condemnation. Speak not just with words, but through the silent eloquence of your actions. The herder set the lamb down on the grass, his hands trembling. You have opened my eyes, O Blessed One, but how can I face my village and its demands? The Buddha replied, his tone gentle yet firm. Courage is the flower that blooms from the seed of compassion. Stand as an example of the higher truth. It is not easy, but the transformation of one heart can ripple through 100 lives. The disciples murmured among themselves, inspired by the depth of Buddha's wisdom. One disciple offered the herder his support. I will accompany you to your village and help share these teachings. Together, we can plant seeds of kindness. The herder looked gratefully at the disciple. Relief and newfound strength etched into his face. He bowed deeply before the Buddha, his voice steady and resolute. You have shown me another path, one paved with compassion rather than fear. I will walk it. The Buddha watched as the herder departed, lamb in tow, his spirit lighter and his purpose clear. The disciples gathered around the Buddha, eager to reflect further on the lesson. Master, one said, is our love for animals not an extension of our love for all sentient beings? Buddha nodded. Indeed, All living beings are caught in the vast net of existence. To honor one life is to honor all. A warm breeze rustled through the leaves, as if nature herself was moved by the words spoken. The sun, now high in the sky, illuminated the faces of the disciples, who felt a profound sense of unity with all beings. And so, Buddha concluded, practice compassion not merely in thought, but in action, for through compassion, you shall find the path to enlightenment. The disciples bowed deeply, their hearts filled with resolve to live by the principles of metta, loving kindness for all beings. The day's lesson lingered in their minds, a beacon guiding their journey towards wisdom and peace. The herder, upon reaching his village, stood resolute before the elders. He shared the teachings of the Buddha, his voice steady with conviction. Though met with resistance at first, the villagers began to question their long-held beliefs. In time, the village adopted new rituals, ones that celebrated life rather than demanded its sacrifice. The lamb, spared from its fate, grew strong and became a symbol of the power of compassion. The ripples of this moment spread far and wide, touching lives and inspiring change. And thus, the Buddha's teaching bore fruit, reminding all who heard it that the essence of Dharma is love, not division, unity, not harm. Another day, another moment of serenity unfolded under the vast canopy of a sal tree. The Buddha sat in quiet reflection. A sparrow hopped close, its wings trembling and its chirps filled with sorrowful urgency. It carried a feather, torn from the nest it had lost to human thoughtlessness. A disciple observed the sparrow's distress and asked the Blessed One, "Master, what shall we do for this small creature?" Buddha gazed at the fragile sparrow, its vulnerability a mirror of life's tender interconnectedness. His words emerged calm and clear. Even the smallest of beings holds an essential place in the great wheel of existence. Each life is a testament to the Dharma's boundless scope. The disciples drew near, eager to absorb the unfolding lesson. Buddha continued, his tone rich with compassion. Bhikkhus, every being, regardless of size, seeks the freedom to live without fear. The suffering of this sparrow is not separate from our own. The sparrow flitted to the ground near Buddha's feet, its plaintive cries piercing the hearts of all present. A disciple knelt, cupping the sparrow gently in his hands. "Master, how can we remedy the harm done by ignorance?" The Buddha's expression softened, his voice imbued with wisdom. "Ignorance blinds the heart, bhikkhus, leading it to actions devoid of mindfulness or compassion. Remedy begins with awareness and kindness extended to all." A child passed by, stopping at the sight of the sparrow. The child's eyes widened with curiosity and concern. The Buddha turned to the child and spoke. "Child, observe this sparrow. Its cries teach us to listen deeply. Its fragility reminds us of life's preciousness." The child crouched beside the disciples, gently stroking the sparrow's back. Its trembling subsided slightly, its chirps quieting as though soothed by the touch. The Buddha nodded, pleased by the interaction. A disciple raised a question. "Master, why do some hearts remain closed to the suffering of creatures, while others feel the sorrow deeply?" Buddha replied with measured clarity. "The closed heart is trapped by aversion and delusion, believing itself separate from the world it inhabits. Compassion blossoms in those who perceive unity, recognizing no division between themselves and others." The sparrow leapt lightly from the child's hands, flitting toward the remnants of its nest nearby. The child followed, offering scattered pieces of straw to rebuild it. Buddha watched this act with quiet approval. "Bhikkhus," Buddha said, "witness how the sparrow persists despite its suffering. In its resolve, there is a lesson for all." One disciple spoke, humbled by the sight. "Master, how do we nurture such persistence in our own hearts when faced with life's trials?" Buddha's gaze turned toward the horizon, his tone rich with the depth of his insight. "Cultivate metta, loving kindness, and view all beings as extensions of yourself. Through this practice, resilience emerges as compassion's faithful companion. The sparrow chirped once more, its sounds now carrying the faint note of hope. The disciples and child worked patiently, piecing the nest together under Buddha's gentle guidance. The Buddha's voice resonated as the nest began to take shape. Life flourishes not by dominion, but through reverence for its delicate balance. Protect it as you would protect yourself. Another disciple asked, Master, is harm always intentional, or can it emerge from unconscious thought and action? Buddha gestured toward the half-formed nest. Much harm arises from ignorance and inattentiveness. The mindful heart is the seedbed of peace for all beings. The sun began its descent, casting golden rays over the nest now nearing completion. The sparrow hopped from branch to branch, its movements lighter than before. Buddha's eyes rested on the sparrow, his words filled with grace. Bhikkhus, honor the small creatures who share your earth. Their lives are as intricate and divine as yours. The child spoke, a glimmer of realization lighting their face. Will the sparrow trust humans again, after knowing fear caused by them? Buddha turned toward the child, his expression gentle. Trust is a fragile but resilient bond. It rebuilds through acts of kindness. Just as this nest has been rebuilt. The disciples reflected deeply on Buddha's teachings as twilight began to settle over the land. The sparrow hopped into its newly formed nest, chirping softly to signal its acceptance. The child asked again, curiosity and hope mingling, Master, will the sparrow forgive the harm done to it? Buddha smiled faintly, his words as tender as the evening breeze. Forgiveness is the sparrow's Dharma, as it is ours. In practicing it, life breathes harmony. The disciples bowed low, the weight of the lesson settling deeply in their hearts. They vowed to protect life's smallest forms with mindful compassion. The sparrow, nestled in its restored home, symbolized the possibility of renewal and the enduring strength of kindness. Buddha watched silently, his presence amplifying the sanctity of the moment. As night blanketed the earth, Buddha spoke once more, remember, bhikkhus, compassion is not reserved for grandeur but thrives in simplicity. Through it, enlightenment is within reach for all beings. Another day, another walk along the edge of the forest brought the Buddha and his disciples to its tranquil depths. Birds sang amidst the rustling leaves, their melodies weaving harmony into the natural world around them. The forest seemed alive, holding secrets within its shadows and light. A villager approached with hurried steps, his voice trembling as he recounted the tale of the slain tiger. The hunter's boast had spread, claiming the tiger as his trophy, an act met with admiration and disdain. The villager, distraught by the act, bowed before the Buddha. Blessed One, the tiger that guarded our forest has fallen by human hand. What wisdom can guide us now? The disciples leaned closer, their hearts weighted by the sorrow of the news. Buddha's voice rose like the gentle whisper of the wind. Bhikkhus, when balance is disrupted, the cries of nature echo through the hearts of those willing to listen deeply. The disciples nodded in solemn understanding, their faces reflecting the gravity of the moment. A young novice questioned, Master, why do some destroy what others strive to protect? Buddha's gaze swept the forest, as though seeking answers in the trees themselves. Destruction often springs from ignorance and greed, blind to the interconnectedness that sustains life. Awareness turns such tendencies into compassion. A second villager arrived, remorse etched into his weathered features. I am the hunter who slew the tiger. I come seeking forgiveness and wisdom to correct my wrongdoing. The Buddha faced the hunter, his eyes calm yet piercing. Your remorse is the spark of transformation, though accountability must follow for growth to be genuine. The hunter lowered his gaze, ashamed but open to change. I failed to respect life's sacred balance. How may I redeem myself and contribute to the healing of the forest? Buddha gestured toward the vast greenery around them. The forest thrives through diversity, its creatures each playing a role to sustain the whole. Return this harmony through your dedication. The hunter listened intently, his resolve deepening with each word. A disciple spoke to the hunter. Your courage to admit error honors the Dharma. Seek purpose in healing rather than in harm. The hunter nodded and vowed, I will protect the forest and its creatures, dedicating my days to replenishing what I have diminished. The Buddha's smile carried the weight of compassion. From remorse blooms renewal. In your actions, may others find inspiration to live in harmony. A disciple posed another question. Master, how do we encourage those who have not yet recognized their interconnectedness with all forms of life? Buddha's voice became soft, yet resolute. Lead by example. Bhikkhus, embody compassion so fully that its presence illuminates the path for those yet blind to its beauty. The sun cast dappled rays through the canopy as the forest seemed to listen to the wisdom shared within it. Another novice asked, what lessons does the tiger teach, even in its absence? Buddha turned to the novice, his response carrying the weight of the Dharma. The tiger's presence upheld balance, its strength a pillar of stability. Its absence calls us to responsibility. The hunter bowed once more, his voice steady and purposeful. I will restore balance by teaching others to protect the creatures and plants that give life to our village. The Buddha regarded him with approval. To live in alignment with the Dharma is to honor all beings, understanding their value in the cosmic web. As the day waned, the disciples sat in meditation under the trees, reflecting on the lessons of the fallen tiger. Their hearts carried the resolve to practice deeper compassion for all life. The forest, alive with whispers of nature, seemed to hold its breath in reverence for the wisdom exchanged. The hunter's path of redemption had begun, echoing through the lives of all he would touch. Through these moments, the Buddha reminded his disciples of life's fragility and strength, urging them to protect rather than to harm. Their vow to live in harmony strengthened, as did their understanding of the Dharma's profound truth. As twilight descended upon the forest, the chorus of creatures called out, their voices harmonizing in unity. The teachings resonated through the hearts of all who listened, guiding them toward a life of compassion and mindfulness. Buddha's presence remained a beacon, unwavering in its message of interconnectedness and reverence for the sanctity of life. Another day concluded, carrying seeds of wisdom and renewal into the days to come. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.